All right, welcome to our webinar series and welcome on a Friday evening on the 28th of June and joining us on today's live debate, which is a very interesting topic at the heart of many home buyers' mind, which is new launch condo versus resale condo. Which particular type of property will be a worthwhile investment for you to have in this season, in the year 2024. And I want to welcome you watching us live at the comfort of your own home. And of course, as per all our live debates, we want to welcome you to participate and interact with us. So the chats are open. And we want to do a live poll first, just before we invite both our teams. And of course, firstly, we have the team representing New Launch Condominium, which is on my right-hand side. Let's welcome Mr. Melvin Lim, aka the New Launch Enthusiast. And of course, welcome. Give me a round of applause, please. Great. And of course, representing our resale condo team as well is Mr. Melvin Lim, representing resale condos. And of course, he is an enthusiast on resale condominiums, and he will only recommend you to buy resale condos. And of course, today is going to be, I think, quite a heated debate because new launch versus resale has been one of the talk of the town since the last 10 to 15 years in the Singapore property market. And there are, of course, two camps and two schools of thoughts. And I think some buyers will strike right in the middle, perhaps owning properties that are either new launches or resale, right in the center portion, having a dual kind of perspective. But of course, some home buyers will prefer largely new homes, some home buyers will prefer largely resale homes. And today we're going to see this very interesting debate between the two teams. And firstly, I want to welcome you to key in your own prediction on tonight's result. That means at the end of today's live debate, who do you think is going to win? Who do you think will have a better defense, a better argument, a better perspective? And I want to invite you to key in your vote first. So take some time, key in your vote. And meantime, while you're keying your vote as well, the chats are open. You can feel free to key in your comments. You can feel free to interact with our teams. You can feel free to, of course, ask any questions. And what we do at the end of every live debate and webinar is that we'll tabulate the questions. If you have no time to answer them all, we will tabulate, send you a PDF to an email based on an email that I've registered with our live debate webinar series. And also, while you are thinking about which vote to cast, we have a very interesting event that's upcoming, and that is our new launch convention coming on the 7th of July, held by PLB Media. That's going to be held at Suntec. It's going to be a full-day event on Sunday, and this is an event that will showcase almost all developments and projects with inventory right now in Singapore. And of course, there's going to be keynote speakers. We have 7 confirmed speakers. We're aiming up to about 10 to perhaps even 14 different speakers from 10 to 8 p.m. And early bird tickets are available. You just need to scan the QR code or click on the link. That will bring you to our landing page for the new launch convention 2024. It's going to be the first convention featuring all new launches in Singapore. So I hope that you have already put in your vote, you have cast your vote, and I'm going to do a very quick sort of like debate brief to both teams, shall we? All right, so take note, both teams. How we're going to hold this debate is that each of you is going to be having your own opening segment. So you're going to give your own opening statement. And this opening statement is going to be a little bit more beefy in this today's context. So we'll give you a little bit more time, have your opening statement, plus your argument and defense, as well as your perspective on what you think will be the key points representing new launches. And of course, your key points, Mr. Melvin, representing resale as well. And then we will go into the rebuttal round. So the rebuttal rounds is going to be a very intense and interactive round. So both of you will come up with your own rebuttal. You can share one point and the other party can immediately give your defense and rebuttal. So we want it to be more interactive. So 1 point each and then 1 point each, and then we'll move across, and then we'll end off with a final voting. Of course, the vote will come from our audiences. Audiences, you have the final call to determine who will win tonight's argument. So we want to welcome you to participate as much as you can. Also, just to note for both teams is that no personal attack is allowed. Share your points based on actual facts and actual arguments and actual perspective. We hope that you remain professional in today's debate, and we look forward to a very interesting segment today. So I hope that you already cast a vote, and what we're going to do right now is that we are going to welcome the first team to kickstart, and of course that will be Team Resale. So let's welcome Team Resale. Give him a round of applause, please. All right, thank you, Mr. Moderator, for welcoming me. And my name is Melvin Lim. I represent Team Resale, and of course, personally, I'm an enthusiast on resale homes. I personally believe that resale condos are the best in Singapore. And of course, if anybody want to invest in real estate, whether it's your own stay or for additional investment, you must go for resale properties. Allow me to share my argument for tonight, because these are the main points that I have. In fact, if you can see just by the arrows itself, there are already so many hidden benefits of resale condominium properties. A very quick glimpse of what I'm going to share today in my opening statement is that this is one of the most important factors. Have a look at this. See, feel, touch, smell, and hear. Resale properties allows you to do that, which new launch condos do not have the benefit of giving you that, because you'll be able to see the actual physical property. Second point, of course, is that you can have the option to hunt for renovated homes. There are so many homes out there in the market that the existing owner has already put in their investment, whether it's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 to renovate their homes. And when you purchase the homes from a resale market, you can buy over the home that has been renovated, thereby saving you a lot of costs. You also have immediate rental income, which is very important. You also have a chance to look at the disparity effect on price differences between resale properties and new launch properties. You also have en-bloc potential, which is what a lot of families are hunting for. Either you're hunting for a freehold land plot, which is perhaps like 20, 30, 40 years old already, and is coming to a stage that there's talks about en-bloc. And of course, if en-bloc does happen, that's going to be a windfall for you. You also have choices for ultimate layouts. There are so many beautiful penthouses, ground floor units, single floor plate, duplexes, triplexes. There are unique layouts, and of course, everybody wants resale condos because the room sizes are fantastic. You're going to have so much more space compared to new launch homes where the bedrooms are so small nowadays. And trifecta is something I'm going to talk about later on in an in-depth fashion, because quantum play and PSF play is one of the key benefits of hunting for the right property without overpaying. And you have a lot of choices. I mean, year in, year out, there's only like 40 over new launches in the market in terms of the number of projects, but you can choose from all resale projects in Singapore. I mean, just have a look at how many choices there are. So, what else? The price that you negotiate with the current seller, as well as the terms and conditions for the completion period, option exercise fee, is totally negotiable. It's a willing buyer, willing seller. You can discuss. However, if you go to a new launch project, nothing is negotiable. All right, the price are fixed, terms are fixed. I mean, what can you negotiate with the developer? And you can move in immediately, which means that you don't have to pay rental, you don't have to move twice, you don't have to even think about packing, moving, having the logistics, renting, and then doing a double move. I mean, just take a look at how much time you're going to invest and relocating your kids to their schools and transport arrangement and all that kind of stuff, which is why I personally believe resale condominiums are the best for any families in Singapore, whether is it for investment, which you can earn rental income immediately, or whether is it for your own family stay. And I'm going to touch on the first topic, which is see, feel, touch, smell, and hear. So, this is one of the most important reasons that you want to own a resale property, because you can see the property, you can feel the property. I mean, most of the time when we purchase a property, we are both analytical and we are both emotional, in the sense that once we walk into the property, there has been research done, is that the first 8 seconds when you walk into a physical home, you sort of already intuitively know in yourself, I mean, you feel in your gut that you roughly have a sense whether is this home giving you a good feeling or not. We want to feel the home. We want to see the actual unit. And we want to be able to experience the emotions once we walk in. And then, of course, after that, we'll do our analysis on valuation. We'll do our analysis on transactions, and we'll start the negotiation process. We want to be able to touch the materials as well. I mean, like, want to know what we're actually buying. I mean, if there's renovation or no renovation, or maybe the renovation has already been dated a little bit, we want to see what can we preserve, what can we reuse, what do we need to tear and hack down so that we can then re-renovate, or we can revamp a little bit. I want to see the condition of the wall. Are there crack lines? I want to see, are there leaking? I want to see the floor condition. I want to assess how much I need to value add, which is why we want to touch as well. Of course, I'm not saying that when you go for viewings, you need to open up all the wardrobes of the existing homeowners. Please don't do that. If you really want to see internally all the drawers, please ask for permission. But what I'm saying is that at least you can see and touch on the surface. You can ask for permission to check the existing materials before you make an offer. And this is, of course, very fair for potential buyer. You can smell. In fact, you're wondering, hey, Melvin, why are you talking about smell? I mean, like, what do you want to smell? Do you want to smell the home of the existing owner? Now, this is such an important overlooked feature because some of the stacks of condominiums, especially in homes, you will only be able to assess the smell once you go into a physical unit, and which you can't do that in a new launch condo. You can only predict. For example, if your stack is facing towards a road, you want to smell in terms of the dust level. If it's facing towards the expressway, if it's facing towards a potential rubbish chute, if it's facing towards a rubbish chute of a potential development opposite you, you want to be able to see if there's any concern or smell coming into your unit, which is so important. And if you buy a new launch, you can only look at the site model. You can only look at the 3D. You cannot even experience it, right? And you want to hear the noise level. You want to be able to hear, is the road noise detrimental? Because just imagine staying at home after you collected keys to a new launch, you don't even have a level of expectation of the expressway facing, the road noise facing. And you want to be able to hear what is the noise decibel level. And this is so important because buying a property is no small decision. You're going to stay there for a minimum of 3, 4, 5 years. And this few aspects are so important for our decision making. And which is why you can see the actual facing, noise level. You can also see who are your neighbors. You can talk to the existing seller, or maybe if you happen to see neighbors coming out, you can just ask them, hey, how is this project? How do you find staying here? You can assess the demographics of the projects. Are there a lot of children? Are there a lot of old folks? You can roughly get a sense of that. And most importantly, sun direction. Are there west sun facing, wind direction, smell from external rubbish collection truck, and stuff like that. These are so important points. Just have a look at this article. This is an article. Of course, this is a HDB property, but it drove 6 families out of their home from this Punggol HDB block. And of course, it's because of one, as per this article, neighbor from hell. And Yishun Condo residents are a little bit concerned because the project opposite them that is constructing situated the rubbish chute, the bin center, which is very near to some of the stacks. And originally, when they bought it, it was facing an open field. But after this new project was constructed, it's going to face towards that direction. And you can only experience that if you purchase a resale condo. I mean, how can you experience that when you go for a new launch development, right? And moving on to the second point. Second point is one of the most cost-saving point. And when you go into the market, it really depends what you're hunting for. Some of you, I know, you want to buy properties that are not renovated at a very good entry price so that you can pump in your own renovation because you already know what you want. You already have your own mood board for design, for renovation. There's a goal that you want. But a lot of families, because they want to save time, they want to save costs, and renovation is all hard cash, all your hard cash savings. Of course, you can take a renovation loan and stuff like that, but it's still cash. And when you go into the market, you have this beautiful option, which is you can hunt specifically for renovated homes. And most of the time, when you look at renovated homes versus non-renovated home, unless that renovated home is renovated to a huge luxury extent, but you will still be able to get good deals in the market. And you can get different varying conditions. Renovated homes that has been renovated last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or maybe just the last 3 years. And you can determine based on what you see, touch, and feel, whether is it worth for you to go in and make an offer. But most importantly, after you purchase it, the amount of cost that you need to spend to do a little bit of touch-up, repainting is minute. So that's going to save you so much cost from your own renovation. And sometimes you can even negotiate for the existing seller to throw in some furniture. If you like the furniture and the seller has no intent to move it to a new home, you can ask them whether can you live behind the curtains or the blinds. And all these things are beautiful things that you can discuss. So you have a chance to own, of course, renovated properties without sparing the 2, 3, 4 months to do gut renovation, even for new launch. Even though I know later the other team is going to say that, hey, new launch, you don't have to do much renovation. The wardrobes, kitchen cabinets, bathrooms, floorings are all done, aircon is done, but you still have to do a little bit of renovation here and there, your blinds, lights, and stuff like that. Later we'll come to that. But most importantly, sometimes you can get beautifully done at home with wall features, with cove lights, with a lot of things that is planted into the property already. You can also, of course, negotiate. This is negotiation in terms of furniture and most importantly, timeline, which later I'll talk to you about it in terms of timeline. Let me move on to the third point. Third point is the beauty. Why is it a beauty? Because you have immediate rental income. For those of you who are hunting for a second property, let's say you have 2 names, husband and wife. First name is already determined based on your own stay needs, and then now you're ready to come into the market to hunt for the second property. You can get immediate rental income. Because why? This is a resale property. After 8 to 12 weeks of completion, you can just rent out the unit immediately for rental income. Have a look at how much savings that you are having. Because the moment you rent out, just imagine if you were to purchase a $2 million property from the resale market. And of course, $2 million, you can still get a lot of choices in the resale market today. 3% interest rate, 30 years loan tenure, 75%, 1.5 mil loan. Let's say your installment is $6,324. And let me just have a very conservative rental income. Let's say you just rent out for $5,000, unfurnished. All right, you rent for $5,000, even though you see that, hey, I cannot cover my full installment, but behind the scenes, the hidden engine is that the tenant is paying all the interest for you. So your installment at 6,324 is split out into 2 portions, P plus I, principal plus interest. The interest of 3,750 is fully paid by the tenants, $5,000. The balance 1,250 goes to contribute towards your principal. And what you need to top up in terms of another $1,300 over dollars or $1,400 is going towards your principal as well, which will come back to you when you do an equity term loan, when you sell the property in future. Because what's most important is that the cost of the loan is in the interest, which the tenant has already paid for you. And that is the beauty of buying a resale property. So you can't do that for a new launch property. And this is actually, to me, a very important point is that your entry price. Now, you can do that for resale homes. Let's have a look at this. Because why? You are not paying the top benchmark pricing in PSF. You can pack your resale entry price against new launches around you. So let's say you are hunting for this district X. You want to hunt for a particular zone, an enclave. You look at these few resale homes. And what you need to do is that observe the asking prices by developers of the new launches in the same enclave and try to see what's the disparity. This is what we call disparity effect. Have a look at this. This is just coming out straight from the oven. It's fresh from the oven. The year 2024, new launch condos hit new benchmark, $2,400 per square foot. In fact, if you go to some of the OCR regions, they're already asking for $2,300 to $2,600. I'm not sure what's going to happen in 5 years' time. Maybe it's going to be $2,800, $3,000. We all need to be prepared for that. But of course, I'm not saying that this is no good. I'm not trying to say that new launch condos are no good. What I'm trying to say is that new launch condos has its benefit. But resale condo has an edge in terms of entry price. Have a look at this. This is the median transacted price right now for resale in 2024, 1642 PSF. And what's going to happen is that this is naturally having that 46% price difference from new launch because there's a $765 PSF median difference. This will give you chance for you to catch up. And this is such a safe entry price. There's not much things to worry about because what's below you? Below you is HDB properties. And basically with this, it's such a safe entry price. You have still so much room to chase towards, right? You don't have to worry that, hey, I enter at 2004 PSF, what's going to happen? How long will it take for me to chase up to 2008 or 3000? Should I go in at 1006 and I have $700 to chase? This is what we call a safety benchmark. And to me, that entry price is important to you. And of course, en-bloc potential. And of course, if you aim for properties with en-bloc potential, with a lot of land space, a lot of car park space, naturally, there's some chance, some level of chance. And I'm not saying that it will definitely hit an en-bloc, because we all know that en-bloc don't come easy, but you still gain a hidden engine. Especially if you go for old freehold properties. You go for old freehold condos with huge land plot, or even 99s that are very popular, but extremely huge land plot, and they've already tried a few times for en-bloc attempts, 2, 3, 4 times. And when you buy, of course, you will be taxed with a seller stamp duty for that first 3 years if en-bloc happens within the 3 years. But end of the day, if you're having that thought process that you want to hunt for an en-bloc project, and that to you might be a hidden bonus. If it doesn't happen, you can continue to stay and enjoy the beautiful condo. But if it happens, it's going to be a jackpot for you and your family. And of course, there's some articles online on HProp. You can have a look at that. Let me move on to the other point, which this is, of course, a luxury. You can enjoy larger land space. You can enjoy larger layouts, larger bedroom space, living, dining. Just have a look at some of the layouts. And there's so many choices to look at. I mean, this is launched by PropertyLimBrothers. You can have a look at their YouTube channel. This is a duplex unit, 2379 square feet, asking for $2 million. And of course, if you look at this, you're going to have your second level private roof terrace, master room, 700 over square feet. And then level 1, it gives you a total space of probably about 1,600 square feet. And you're going to have another 3 bedrooms on level 1 plus that study room over there. And that duplex nowadays is so rare. If you go to some of the new launches, most of the time if you go for the top level unit of certain large developments, these are loft spaces in the living dining. Because nowadays we don't see a lot of duplexes being created unless it's a boutique development. And these are choices in the resale market that your family can enjoy. Have a look at this. This in D11, Travos, 3 bedroom, 1,475 square. Have a look at the amount of space that is given. And of course, nowadays, if you look at the average median size of new launches, 3 bedrooms are averagely at about 900 plus to 1,000 square feet. This is 1,475, which you definitely can feel the space that you're hunting for. You can also hunt for penthouses, triplexes, and these are rare commodities, in my perspective, in the resale market. And trifecta, let's talk about that. Quantum play, which is extremely important, because not only can you enjoy quantum play and PSF play, there's this trifecta that you can enjoy in the resale market that is not present in the new launch market. And of course, I know the new launch team is really staring at me right now, but later on you will have a chance. But let me continue to finish it first. Have a look at this particular video. And this home was recently launched also by PLB. And this was the trifecta that I've been talking about. Because if you look at this, the price quantum is palatable. For such a good build-up area, this is a strata cluster home, freehold. Freehold, I purposely see this freehold mark right in the middle of the triangle. PSF is only 1,152 PSF compared to new launches, which is about 2,005 on average. Build-up area, 4,639, 4 beds, 4 baths. Plus powder room with 6 bathrooms at a price quantum of 5.38. Move in immediately, fully renovated. You can check out the video online at 7 Crescent. And when I compare to new launches, they also have a trifecta, but they're short of 1 triangle. In fact, you look at this triangle, it's not a full triangle, it's a half triangle. Why? Because in terms of PSF, is at a different level from the resale market. And when you have a different benchmark PSF in the new launch market, size has to be compromised. You could have, at the same quantum, gotten in double the amount of size, but because of the PSF level, you have to sacrifice on your size. And that's what I call the trifecta for resale condo. Next, let's have a look at choices. You can choose from so many locations in the entire Singapore. And this is consolidated new launch balance units in the CCR area, RCR area. And of course, there are so many new launches projects that you can choose per year, but it still loses out in terms of the amount of choice compared to the resale market. every year, there's only 40 over launches. You look at 2022, 2023, 2024, perhaps at most 30 to 50 launches per year. Every year there's an introduction of about 9 to 10,000 units. But if you look at the available choices, just on a very popular portal on Property Guru, at this point in time, there's 33,000 units for you to choose from compared to 9,000 units that are being launched every year. And you can choose from all locations in Singapore. Because sometimes, if let's say you're fixated on one location, let's say you grew up in Novena, you definitely want to have District 11. But you just couldn't seem to have a new launch project that pops out in D11 in a particular enclave in Novena. And if you're fixated on the new launch and not opening up your perspective to resale, what's going to happen is that when a new launch just pops out in the year 2025, you might just go for it. But maybe that particular new launch in Novena has certain characteristics that defer its potential to increase in valuation or price appreciation. But you just go for it because it is a new launch. And if you have perhaps open up your perspective to consider also resale properties and then look at certain characteristics that you want. And of course, I'm not saying that all resale properties will see very good growth, but there are ample amount of choices that you can choose from in the resale market, which means that your hit rate is naturally going to increase compared to limiting your choice to only what comes out in the new launch market on a year-to-year basis. So, how about this? Price and terms are negotiable. You can negotiate with the seller. For example, if let's say you want a little bit of longer option period because you're still selling your home to clear your ABSD and the LTV, you could do that. You can discuss. If, of course, willing seller, willing buyer. If the seller is not willing, you can make an offer for another unit, right? If let's say you want to talk about a longer completion period because you need to do certain bridging loan and stuff, instead of the 8 weeks, you need 16 weeks, you can discuss. And of course, everything is about willing seller, willing buyer. And you can discuss certain terms and conditions to hit and match your expectation and your timeline. And last but not least, this is a beauty. I don't know why I keep using the word beauty tonight, but really, this is indeed a beauty. You can move in immediately. You don't have to pay rental. Let me just give you some illustration. Imagine you need to sell your property to buy a new launch property. And of course, you perhaps the new launch team will say that, hey, you don't have to sell. You can buy first. And then pay ABSD first and go for ABSD remission. And you can claim back ABSD if you can sell your property 6 months upon TOP. But later on, I'm going to argue that in order to do that, you also have to make sure that your LTV qualifies for 75% to take the loan because you need to make sure your current property is fully paid first. And of course, there's so much stress involved. If the moment the property TOPs, I only got 6 months to sell my existing property, of course I can appeal to IRAS and stuff like that. But it's going to be an added stress to dispose my current property just to claim back my ABSD that has already paid for the new launch home. And most importantly is that a lot of families still prefer to clear off the existing home first, and they just want a safety net, sell off this home, don't have to worry about forking out additional amount to pay for ABSD first while waiting for 3 to 4 years and then stressing out to sell off their home for 6 months after TOP. They prefer to have a clean slate. That means sell off the existing home, maybe they go and rent for 3-4 years, but when you do that, have a look at this. What is going to happen is that if let's say you sell off your existing home today and you put in and you sign the S&P for a new launch, you purchase a new launch on a back-to-back transaction, 2024, and you need to rent for 3 years to wait for you to TOP. Sometimes you might stretch to 4 years if the construction is delayed, or maybe after the TOP, you still need 3 months to renovate, defect check and stuff like that, which might stretch to 4 years, but let me just put 3 years. 3 years, if you go and rent a $5,000 rental, 3-bedder for your family, you multiply that by 36 months, that's going to cost you $180,000 in cash for a rental. And you are paying to the landlord because you need this temporary space, all because you want to go into a new launch property. And what is going to happen is that this $180,000 cash, if you have bought a resale property, you do a back-to-back transaction. Perhaps you might still need to rent for 6 months because you want to renovate the resale home. But if you can time it beautifully, having a rent back extension from your buyer for your existing home, get a new home that is renovated. Some of the families can move in immediately. or if you need rent for 6 months, which is a very minute cost. But importantly, have a look at this 180,000. What could you have done with 180,000? There's so much opportunity cost. You could have bought a new car. You could have used this money to send 3 kids to university. Per year, local uni is about 10,000. Per full 4 years is about 40,000. You can send 3 children to university. Renovation, you can use this 180,000 to make the resale property into a palace. You can do a gut renovation, right? You can even save up this for rainy days. You can even invest this in the equity market or bonds and very safe investment or fixed D or stuff like that. And there are 5 different usage if you have bought a resale condo instead. But because of this, you need to shift twice. Have a look at this. Shifting twice is actually one of the top 10 stresses of every family. And have a look at this. I need to credit ChatGPT, all right? So 10 stresses of life. And of course, house moving, rank number 6. So why would you want to spend that? And why would you want to risk that to move 2 times and cause so much stress to the entire family, relocation, kids, living habits, rearranging of furniture, storage and stuff like that. And sometimes the rental place is so small, you need to put your furniture into the storage and you have additional costs. And sometimes I want to also just share this perspective. You know, some families, they have this aspiration to want to move to a condominium. And they only want to go for new launch and not resale. And what happens is that when they bought the new launch, their kids are still young. But 3 to 4 years later, when they got their keys to the new launch condo, by the way, these are all AI images. It's not a real family. Their kids have grown up already. They are already teenagers, and they will say, "Daddy, Mommy, I don't want to go to the pool with you anymore." Because when you bought a condo, there are still kids in primary school, and every day they are bugging you to go to the pool to play with them. But once you got the keys, you realize that you bought a condo with the aspiration to bring your kids every weekend to the pool to have fun together. But by the time you take the keys 4 years later, they are grown-ups. They don't want to use the facilities anymore. And time is so important because if you have owned a resale condo, you have gained back the 4 years of memories with your children while they're still young and enjoying all the facilities and the family. Which is why when you look at everything together, all in summation, let me come back to all the slides. When you look at everything in summation, all these reasons states why I think resale condo is the best option for any family in Singapore. All right, back to you, moderator. All right, thank you, Team Resale. Very, very compelling argument and very good opening statement with all the factors involved. I think all in Team Resale, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 11 factors on why you think resale condo is a must. And of course, I can sense your enthusiasm in resale properties. And it's like, wow, oh my goodness, your conviction is so strong. And I wonder what the new launch team is going to bring to us on the table. So meantime, new launch team, are you ready? I hope you are. I'm going to pass to you, Mr. Melvin Lim, representing New Launch Homes. So, over to you with your opening statement. Let's go. All right. So, thank you, Mr. Moderator, for introducing me. And of course, my name is Melvin Lim. I represent the New Launch Condos perspective. And of course, thank you to Team Resale for giving a very good opening and compelling, but of course, I think there's a lot of gaps in your argument, and I'm going to bring across these gaps later in my rebuttal segment. But meantime, I'm going to talk about why I think new launch condos are the best, because they are indeed the best. They're the best form of investments. They're the best form of properties for own stay. And why would anyone wants to buy an old resale property? New launch are the best. New launch, you get everything brand new. And in fact, I also have, and please don't say that I've copied your slides, because I also love black background with white fonts. I love this same fonts that you're using. And I will say that you're actually the one that copied me. In fact, I also have a lot of reasons why I think new launch condos are the best form of investments for own stay or future upside appreciation. Let's have a look at some of the factors that I have. TOP effect. I'm going to talk about that later. There's no COV involved. There's no cash overvaluation. You have one more exit audience that resale properties don't have. Resale properties, who are your exit audience? When you want to sell in future, 3, 5, 8 years later, you can only sell to people that want to buy resale old condos. But if you buy a new launch project, you have one additional audience that you can sell to, which are people who only want to buy homes that nobody has lived in before, with no history. And I'm going to talk about that later. These homes are popular with tenants. Just have a look. When a project TOP and completes, it's so fresh, brand new. Facilities are beautiful, state-of-the-art technology, smart homes, architecture features, new facilities with like a reading room, bowling alleys. There's like so many different beautiful function rooms, spa, saunas, and stuff like that. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of tenants, they're hunting for homes that just has been completed. And it's so easy to rent out. You have new design, new architecture, new facilities. Rental cost is extremely low. Why? Because developers has already done almost everything for you. Brand new kitchen, brand new appliances. Nowadays, developers are giving hoop hop oven, microwave. They're giving you washer cum dryer, bigger units, washer, split dryer, bathroom fittings. Hans Grohe, you talk about all these kind of European brands, most of the developers are already giving. And of course, all these are brand new. Nobody has used it before. And you're going to get everything in the tip-top condition. And that's going to keep your renovation cost very low because all you need to do is just put in the lights and blinds. I mean, how much can they cost? Progressive payment. This is a hidden engine. I'm going to dive in on that. And of course, your seller stamp duty is just nice. By the time you collect your keys, you already clear a seller stamp duty. Just imagine your resale condo. What if you purchase and you regret 2 months later after you move in? You realize that, hey, oh my goodness, this is not something that I want. My neighbors are not very kind. People upstairs are knocking down, stomping their feet every day. And then you want to sell, you cannot, you're stuck. You're stuck for 3 years because you have not cleared your seller stamp duty. But this, if you buy a new launch condo and you move in, and you start to realize that this is not something that you want, what is going to happen? You can sell it because you already cleared your seller stamp duty. Isn't it a beauty? And that's what we call the blackout period. New lease of 99 years. The most beautiful point here. And of course, I didn't copy his word. I also like to use the word beautiful. And 1 year delay installment. And of course, defect warranty. This is fantastic. Anything that happens, you can call the developer. You have 1 year defect warranty to fix your defects. BSD from CPF directly. In fact, a lot of home buyers, they don't know this hidden advantage and benefit. And that's such a huge advantage. And you have this fantastic advantage as well, is that you have this first mover advantage. And there's also a chance that the developer, while they are selling their property in different phases, they can help you to make multiple rounds of free appreciation. Free appreciation. So let's dive in. All right, so let's move on to the first point, and this is what we call the TOP effect. In fact, this is the best point that I love about new launch condos. It's a one-off owner's alignment, and you only get this for new launch condos. You don't get this in resale. Later, I'll come to that. It's actually my hidden point in my rebuttal, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. This is an existing case study, and of course, all the owners right here, they're so happy that they bought this property during launch, or whether in the mid phase of launch, even in the last phase of launch, it doesn't matter. All of them are sitting on such healthy profits. Look at the green color PSF gain that they've already made. From the launch, those first owners that belongs here in 1819, they bought around the range of 1,006, 1,007 PSF. They've already made $500 per square foot when it TOPs in 2022. And when it TOP, you already see all these transactions happening. They've already cashed out and moved on to buy their landed homes or maybe bigger properties. And even if they held on to it, look at how much it has already appreciated. $2,300 per square foot right now in some of the most recent transaction. That is what we call a TOP effect, which happens right here. Why is it an alignment? It's because everybody that bought 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, they will never sell back at the same price that they bought because they have already waited for 4 years to collect their keys, and they will happily stay there. And they will only exit if there's a decent price being offered to them. Because just imagine, if you collect your keys here, you bought at 1,006, 1,007, you are there happily at a pool, and a property agent comes to you and says, Mr. Owner, congratulations on taking your keys to Sterling Residence. I know you bought in 2018. Now it's the year 2022. You collected your keys already. I have a buyer that wants to buy your 3-bedder, and they want to offer you $1,700 PSF. What's going to happen? I think you're going to explode immediately, because it's like, hey, are you okay? I bought at $1,700. You want me to sell at $1,700? Are you in your right mind? I wouldn't sell at that price. I would stay, or I would rent out. There's no need for me to sell. If you want to sell, bring me a check of $2,001. That's what's going to happen. And guess what? Not only will you say that, everyone else that bought together with you is going to repeat that statement. It's a one-off alignment that you don't need to hold a board meeting with all the owners of Sterling Residences to say, hey, let's agree to sell at $2,001. You don't have to do that. Everybody wants to sell at a certain appreciation. If not, they will just live in it. They will not sell. They will just hold on to it. They will rent out. They will happily just live there. And there's no need for them to sell, technically speaking. Right? So this is actually what we call a one-off alignment. And even if they held on to it, it has continued to perform very well, because they managed to ride on certain trenches of the bull market that happened back then. And of course, Florence Residences is another case study. If you look at this, they went in at about 1,004, 1,005. When a TOP is about 1,007, today is about 1,008 plus. This is a similar alignment that all the owners have. This is the price that they are willing to let go. And of course, when they let go, what happened is that this then formed the new benchmark valuation. So this is like a one-off upgrade of your appreciation, a one-off upgrade of a valuation. And TOP effect is so powerful. Let's have a look at Riverfront Residences. Similarly, during launch, it's about 1,003, 1,004. During TOP, it's about 1,005 to 1,006. And today, it's about 1,008. And this alignment comes because they have the first mover advantage, and they went in during the launch. And that's the beauty of new launch condos. Let's have a look at a second point. No COV. What do I mean by this? Basically, when you look at this key point, is that you don't have to worry about topping up additional cash. Because when you go for resale properties, you have to check the bank valuation. Let me talk about this. For example, if you go to a resale market, and let's say if you saw a property, $2.5 million. In your mind, the calculation as a home buyer is that you already know you have to come with 5% cash, which is $125,000, 20% CPF, $500,000, 75% loan, $1.875 million. But take note, when you call your banker and say, hey, I want to make an offer for this $2.5 million resale property, and what's going to happen is that if, let's say, you didn't do that check, and you are so emotional, and you like this property so much, you immediately put down a 1% option fee to the seller, and realize to your horrific truth that after you put in the option fee, the banker tell you that, hey, I couldn't match the valuation. That seller is asking for too high. And then you call a second banker at a different bank. You call a third banker, and everybody come back with a valuation that is below $2.5 million. And let's say the max is 2.2. What's going to happen is that you need to top up $300,000 cash. And that is what will be the key difference. Because if you go for a new launch condo, you go into a developer show flat, the valuation will match. And this is basically the amount of cash that you have to come up with, which is $125,000. If you go for a resale property and you couldn't get a match on the asking price that can close the deal with the seller, and you went ahead and go ahead of it, what's going to happen is that you can only loan 75% of that $2.2 million valuation. You need to pay 5%, 20% CPF on that $2.2 million valuation, but the difference between the transacted price and your valuation is in hard cash. And end up, you're going to fork out $410,000 for cash, which you could have used that additional cash for your renovation. So this is the key difference, and this is what we call having that safety kind of peace of mind, that when you buy a new launch condo, you don't have to worry about all these valuation things, right? So how about this third exit audience? This is one of my favorites, because if you follow the school of thought of the resale camp, they only have one group of buyers. I mean, like, after you buy a condo, if you want to exit in future, you can only sell to one group of people. But if you buy a new launch, you buy a new launch because you're somebody that knows value, like myself. When you want to sell the property 3-4 years later, when you collect the keys, you can sell also to resale condos. You can actually snatch the buyers from them. But you have one additional group of buyers, which are buyers that are very specific. They are called TOP sub-sale buyers. They only want brand new homes. They do not want homes that people live in before. They want brand new properties. But they also don't want to wait. They do not want to go into a show flat and wait 3-4 years. They want to go to the TOP market and hunt for those projects that owner just collected their keys. And they are okay to be the second buyer. They are okay to pay that price. They just don't want to wait. And they don't want something that is in the resale condo market that people live in before. So you have this audience plus this audience, which is a bonus for you, which means that when you want to exit, you have a higher and better chance to exit at the price that you want. And you also have popularity with tenants, because tenants, some of the tenants, they also want condos that nobody lived in before. Just have a look at the facade, just have a look at the facilities, just have a look at the pool, just have a look at how beautiful they are. And these are all brand new facilities, and being tenants, you're like, wow, I don't have to fork out down payment. I just pay rent for 12 months, 24 months. I can enjoy all this. And all these features are like better than certain country clubs as well. They're like so beautiful, brand new facilities, brand new security, brand new car park. They can park their cars as well, because as tenants, you don't have to pay MCST maintenance fee. Everything is wrapped into your rent. And if you drive, you can park your car for free. You can enjoy the facilities for free. You can hold parties for free as well. And of course, who do not like new design or architecture? Why do you want to, pay so much and go into an old condo with dilapidated facilities? Why don't you go for brand new design? Just have a look at this short clip. And this, of course, from PLB Insights. I took it down from their YouTube. And if you look at this, they went to visit this brand new condominium. And of course, they're looking at all the site models. And of course, developers with reputation, they want to deliver naturally as close as to the site model as possible. And we can see from a lot of reputable developers that they've already done it for so many years. Just have a look at the land space, the amount of swimming pools, the drop-off point, the clubhouses. These are such beautiful features that you, as a homeowner, when you own a brand new home, you got to enjoy with your kids. And of course, when we look at that, renovation nowadays, oh my goodness, renovation cost has escalated so much. Just look at the amount of renovation costs that later on I'm going to show you, just from HDB properties to condos, that's escalated so much after COVID, after the pandemic. And of course, even though prices have stabilized, renovation nowadays easily is in the 6 digits. And these are all your hard-earned cash savings. And when you buy a new launch, have a look at this clip. When they visited, so many things will be provided. The ACs are done, the flooring are done, the wardrobes are done, bathroom fittings are done. Every appliances is given to you. You just need to bring your furniture, your lights, your blinds, you're done. And you can move in. Even paint work is already done. So your move-in speed is going to be fast. That's going to save you a lot of time. Progressive payment. This is fantastic. Have a look at this. If you buy a resale, immediately after 3 months, you have to pay the full installment. When you buy a new launch condo, you go progressive. You look at the amount of installment that will start. $561 for a $2.5 million property. You pay that for a good starting point. Perhaps this will take 6 to 12 months. And then after that, another 6 months, $561. And then you will go to 2245 for perhaps another 6 to 12 months as well. And majority of that can come from you and your spouse's CPF, which can still fully cover that amount. And then you go to 2008, 3003. And finally, when you collect the keys, which is at stage number 7, that's at 7,002. And take note, this is not even the full level of installment, because if you go with the same purchase price for a resale condo, immediately when you collect the keys, you have to start paying $8,980. But this is progressive. And why is it that you don't have to pay the full installment when you collect the keys and stay? Because from TOP to CSC, which is what we call the statutory completion date, is still a period of 6 to 12 months. So you sort of get to enjoy a lower installment while you're already living there or you're renting out at a period of 6 to 12 months. And this is like a bonus period. You only need to pay the full installment after that period. So this is the beauty of progressive. You don't have to be stressed. You don't have to worry that you have to rent out immediately, because even though, yes, you can earn rental income as what our our resale team has been talking about. But what about the cost of maintaining the home? You have to fix the heater, you have to take note of your tenant's needs, you have to pay agency fees, you have to find a tenant. Maybe it will take you 3 months to find a tenant. There's loss of income as well. But this, once you purchase, you have a peace of mind. You can just relax for the next 3 to 4 years. Just pay the installment, let the construction complete, and collect your keys. And of course, I love this because the seller stamp duty, while you're waiting and paying your progressive payment, it is already starting. It starts from the date that you sign your S&P, and just nice, after TOP, you don't have to worry about the seller stamp duty for 3 years. And after 3 years, if you collect your keys, if you don't like the unit, you can sell it. You don't have to worry about it because this is the blackout period. You buy a new launch today at 2024. You collect your keys in 2027. If you want to sell, you sell. You want to rent, you rent. You want to move in, you move in. But you have flexibility, which is why seller stamp duty is automatically cleared while the project is constructing, and it runs in parallel. 3 years construction runs in parallel with 3 years seller stamp duty. And that is so wonderful. And, oh my goodness, a lot of you don't realize this. New lease. How important is lease? We all know that now in Singapore, government land sales, they're all 99 years. We already moved past the era that people are comparing freehold and 99 because 99 years are such a norm now. Most 99 years, new launch condos are beautiful, good size, beside MRT stations, beautiful design, high rise, good density. And when you look at them, when you look at the performance of 99's condo in the last 20 years, some of them has outperformed freehold projects. Some of them has outperformed certain boutique developments. Some of them has outperformed certain projects that you think are clear winners. But take note, we are in an era that if you want to buy a property, you must take note of the lease. Why? Because just imagine if you buy a brand new condo this year, perhaps it was land bidded by the developer last year in 2023. And what happens is that at the point of launch, it's 1 year old. And at the point of collecting your keys, maybe at 2027 or 2028, it has a balance lease of 95, 94, which is the top of the market. You have a product that is brand new, and this has the most amount of lease left. And compared to all your surrounding resale old condos, you are a clear winner. And thus, when you want to sell it, this is one of the reasons why the buyers in the market that wants to hunt for TOP project, they love it because it has so much lease left on its table. And you don't have to worry about Bala's curve. Because Bala's curve, if you look at it, the most worrying point starts at 60 years, where a lot of people are worried. Why? Because the next buyer cannot fully utilize their CPF due to withdrawal limits. And when it's balanced 30 years, we all know, we can see some of the landed properties or certain projects that's happening already. The valuation starts to deplete. And of course, nobody wants an old property that you have to constantly worry about the Bala's curve. And thus, I want to show you this case study. This is a project in District 19. Take note. This is what happens. You buy it. Let's say now, it has a balance lease of 82. You need to track back. The lease starts from 07. It was launched in 10. By the time it TOP, it has a balance lease of 93 years. And now if you buy it, when you buy, you must take note. Always plan for your exit. Even though you might say that, hey, I don't want to exit. I love this property. But there will come a time that our seasons will change. Our needs will change. Our kids will move out. Maybe you say, I don't need such a big property anymore. Let me sell it. Maybe I downsize, I buy a smaller property. Or maybe let me move overseas or stuff like that. And 5 years later, when you sell, it has a balance of 77 years. So always forecast when you want to potentially sell in a particular year, what is the balance lease? And when lease drops, buyer audiences reduces. So this is one of the reasons why I love new launch condos, because no matter what, I have a product that I don't have to worry about a Bala's curve. I have a fresh lease right here, and I love new launch developments. Let me give you another case study. This is another development. And this development is interesting. Why? Because when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. The lease starts at 2008, but at the point of completion, it was 2018. Why? Because it was launched in the year 2014. In fact, the developer only launched it 6 years after they acquired the land. I'm not sure what's the reason why. But when it was launched in 2014, fully sold out. By the time people collected their keys, it's 2018. But take note, if you are in the resale market and you listen to our dear resale team over there and you went ahead and buy this property and you buy now, please check the lease start date because the balance lease is 83. And by the time 5 years later, if you sell, the balance is 78. This is something that you have to take note because the balance lease is so important. Now let's have a look. What is this 1 year delayed installment? I talked about it just now. Instead of paying 8,009 straight on, you have 1 year delayed installment that you can get to enjoy. Of course, some projects, they got their CSC cert faster at about 6-9 months, but typically it's about a year, and you get to enjoy a lower amount of installment, which gives you savings. And of course, defect warranty. You can report defects before renovation begins. For example, this article talks about some guides to checking defects. You can check out their website. And of course, these are examples usually how people you can enjoy and you can engage third party to check and paste stickers for you, submit all the defects, get the developer to fix it before you start renovation. But this is something that is not existent in the resale market because when you buy a condo, there's caveat emptor. It is deemed that you understand what you're buying for. And you cannot ask the sellers to fix any defects for you. You have to do it yourself. And BSD can be paid directly from a CPF if you buy a new launch. But if you buy a resale, your buyer stamp duty, you have to fork out in cash first. And when you complete the deal, then you can claim back that cash that you paid for the BSD from your own CPF. And sometimes because of that, there's some cash flow that certain buyers are a little bit, they have to make certain arrangements. But when you buy a new launch property, you don't have to worry about it. And these are the timeline difference. So when you look at this is a new launch timeline difference, and this is a resale property timeline difference. But the key is this. The key is that immediately you don't have to worry about the buyer stamp duty. Because the buyer stamp duty, you have enough time to pay the stamp duty. There's a latest date, which is after the exercise date, that you can still pay, and you can pay it directly from a CPF. You don't have to pay from cash. But when you buy a resale property, you have to stand by the buyer stamp duty in cash first. After that, you can claim back after completion. And sometimes because of that, cash flow arrangement might be a little bit different, right, between a new launch and a condo. And of course, this is also a hidden engine, which is, if you look at this, a brand new condo has this hidden benefit because even though we all know that you can only loan 75%, you pay 5% cash, 20% CPF, but for a new launch, that 5% as part of the 20% is injected into the progressive payment. So all you need to do is to pay 5% first, 15%, and your buyer stamp duty, and the balance 5% down payment is injected into your first progressive payment stage. And that is a benefit that you have. So because of that, you have a little bit more time as well. And so when you look at the final point, this is the first mover advantage. What is this first mover advantage? And sometimes there's 3 to 4 rounds of appreciation even before you know it. Because if you go for a good new launch condo, good project, good characteristics, good developer reputation, good facilities, good land size, good density, and of course we have a lot of factors here. And I will follow PLB's mode analysis to hunt for the right new launch. And I'm not saying that all new launches are perfect, but there are very good new launches on the market. And of course, we use that to deduce and hunt for the correct one. If you buy something this year, and let's say you are the first mover during balloting or during the initial launch, maybe by 2026, the developer has to resell more than 70%. They are not urgent, and they're outbidding for other land already. They might increase price, and that is the phase 1 of increased pricing. And then 2027, they are down to like 90%. They might then further increase price because they are left with the last 10%. They're not urgent at all. And by 2028, they sell off the last 10%. And by the time your project TOP, you hit a new high with that owner's alignment effect. And have a look at how many phases of price increase. You went at this price, 1 round, 2 round, 3 round. If you stay for another 2-3 years, maybe the 4th round. And sometimes this appreciation happens for 3 to 4 rounds without you even knowing it. And of course, last but not least, I love this as well, because if you go into a show flat, you don't have to deal with the emotions of the resale seller. You know, sometimes when sellers want to sell their home, they get a little bit emotional because they have been staying there for 10 years. And of course, when you want to make an offer, maybe their asking price is 2.5. And you tell your consultant, you tell your agent and say, hey, Okay lah, I like this place, offer 2.5. And what happens next? One day later, the seller come back and say, no, I want 2.6. And then you'll be like, hey, I thought your asking price is listed at 2.5. Why do you increase price? Seller say, no, we love this home too much and I want to increase 100,000. What are you going to do? You can't do anything because it's a willing seller, willing buyer. But most of the time when you walk in a show flat, developers, they are sellers as well, but they're running a development business. Their level of course, consistency is definitely there. If you go in maybe in this month, they will have a set of fixed pricing. You just need to talk to the representative at a show flat. Say, I want this particular stack, particular unit. How much is the asking price? How much is the listed price? How much is the discounted price? And how about this stack? What is the price to close? And the price will be fixed. The developer won't come back and say, no, I want to increase 200,000. They won't do that. And if they want to increase price, usually the reps at the show flat will tell you in advance, hey, the developer, I have news that developer is going to increase price in 2 weeks at this date. Please make a decision now. And most of the time it's true. And what this deals with you is that you don't have to deal with other people's emotions. You can go in and make decision based on analysis. And because prices are fixed, you can select from a buffet of available units. You can decide, take your time to think about which stack, which unit you want to buy, which facing you want to buy. And unlike resale, resale is catch of the day. So at this point in time, when you want to buy in the resale market, you have to see what's available. Because if nothing is available in the project that you like, you can't buy anything. But if you go for new launch, you just need to look at the balance unit, look at the price, and make a decision. And it's so easy, which is why I love new launch condos. All right, back to moderator. All right, wow, that was intense. And new launch condo has just gave their opening statement and all their pointers of why they are fanatics of new launch condominium projects. And I'm very excited for the upcoming round. How about you guys? And we want to, of course, move to the rebuttal round very quickly. And of course, before we start the rebuttal round, we want to talk about how we're going to do this rebuttal. And why don't we also have a midway vote? Let's do a midway vote because it sounds very interesting right now. So you have started with initial vote before you came for this, before you watched the opening statement by both parties. Let's have a midway vote based on the two opening statements from the resale team and the new launch team. I think they've done a great job. Give them a round of applause if you are already so-called like amazed with what they have just shared. Give them a round of applause to encourage them a little bit. Maybe key into the chat box. I'll give a clapping signal in the chat box. And let's have a midway vote on by far, based on what you have heard right now. Who do you think will win tonight's live debate on new launch versus resale? Will it be new launch team or resale team? And let me maybe share a little bit about how we're going to do this rebuttal. So for both teams, I hope that you're ready for the rebuttal. And what's going to happen is that I will invite the resale team first to give their first rebuttal point. And when they give their first rebuttal point, I would like to have the new launch team to give an immediate defense. And then, of course, new launch team will give their rebuttal. Resale team will give an immediate defense. And, of course, with that, we're going to do a few rounds. And, of course, when I say that it's about time, I hope that both teams will respect the moderator's instruction, because we cannot drag on your argument for the whole evening. Our audiences need to go back and rest. And let's kickstart the rebuttal round. I hope that you have already given your vote, you have cast your vote. And maybe let's have a look at the votes here before we start. Let's have a look. Let's roll it. All right, great. And of course, before we start rebuttal, a quick segment is that we're having our new launch convention held by PLB Media and our events team. And of course, this is happening on the 7th of July, and it will be held at Suntec Convention Center at Hall 404. It's going to be on a Sunday from 10 to 8 p.m. There's going to be a host of keynote speaking segment talking about all the things you need to know when you are hunting for a condo development in 2024. We're going to feature a lot of projects right there and a lot of invited guests and speakers as well. There are going to be a lot of things that you can roam around. It's going to be a very, very interesting hall and interesting concept. So we hope to see you there. Early bird tickets are available right now. Click on the link right down below. It's at $7. And of course, that will bring you to our landing page. We hope to see you there on our new launch convention, first ever held by PLB Media in 2024. So let me welcome our team Resale to give your first rebuttal. Team Resale. All right, thank you, moderator. So, wow, team new launch. I heard some, of course, points that you have been already shooting over just now, but of course, I have a stash of rebuttal that I hope you'll be able to answer. All right, so these are some of the things that I have, and of course, you know, definitely resale is one of the key best things that you want to talk about, because why? We always want to focus on size. I want to point out to you, to the new launch team, when we look at size, how are we going to solve this issue? All right. I mean, the sizes of new launches are small. The average two-bedder right now is about 600 to 700 square feet. A three-bedder is 900 plus square feet. You go for something at about 1,100 square feet, it's going to be a three-bed premium. The overall quantum is going to be so high based on the PSF level now. And the sizes are being sacrificed. And you can, I mean, if anybody goes to a show flat, naturally the common bedroom, one will be a kid's room, one will be with a queen bed, but after you put in a side table, you can't really even walk well, and you can't even put in like a study table. How are we going to solve this? If you want to put in a study table, you have to put a single bed. How are we going to solve this? The bedrooms are small. The best thing, of course, is to go for resale, because their rooms are huge. Some of the rooms are even bigger than your new launch living room, and that's the reason why size is important. Of course, I know you talk about the balanced lease, but size is important because the entire family is living there. We all want comfort. We don't want to be stuck in a small little bedroom. And nowadays, when I look at the new launch layout, it's pretty standard. All the layout seems to be the same. Either it's a narrow living room or a landscape version. And of course, there's PPVC requirement for government land sales, because when you look at this, there's so many walls that I cannot hack. There's so many walls I cannot hack. If I go to a resale property, there are rooms that I can hack. I can open up a kitchen, open kitchen concept, which everybody loves to host and all that. And if I want to open up a study room, I can do that because the walls are hackable. And for new launches, majority of them under government lenses, they are PPVC walls, and I cannot hack them. There's so little flexibility. And maybe let me ask you, how are you going to solve all these issues? Good points. I know you brought up about size. You've been talking about that for a lot of times already. And you keep emphasizing on size, you keep emphasizing on layouts, and you talk about size is small, bedrooms are small. And of course, I mean, ever since 2013, ever since TDSR, ABSD, LTV, the shift in the entire Singapore for the last 11 years has already been the same. And all the launches that we look at, the three-bedders are all 900 plus square feet, 1,000 square feet. We have all gotten used to it. We all need to move on. I mean, just have a look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong minimum size of a home is 484 square feet. The median size of a home in Singapore is 947 square feet, which is considered a luxury already for three-bedders. And we all have to note that the layouts are much more efficient today, because compared to some of the resale properties, there's a lot of wasted space at the walkway, at the aircon ledges, at the entrance foyer. Most of these spaces are what we call non-efficiency spaces. And of course, when you look at new launches, because of the fact of escalating costs, escalating construction costs, and take note, nowadays, when you buy a new launch condo, it's not just about buying what you see on the floor plate. You might get a three-bedder for about 947 square feet, but the most important thing is that you are gaining access to the entire project. The entire project is your home. And nowadays, how much time do we spend at home? We spend most of our time in our office, at work, meeting clients, fetching our kids to and fro, doing grocery shopping, and we come back to the home to rest, to connect, to sleep, to watch TV, and most of the time we rest. And how much space do you need to rest? You're still on your bed, isn't it? You're just needing one queen bed. You're just on your bed, just want a comfortable, brand new home. And most importantly is that nowadays, when you go for a condominium, you're gaining access to all the facilities. You have beautiful pool, beautiful facilities, beautiful kids playground, lawn space, spa, saunas, reading room, karaoke room, yoga room. You have bowling alleys, you have tennis court. And the important thing is that you're buying part of the entire project, not just your 3-bedroom that's 900 over square feet. What's the point of buying an old project that maybe you have 1,004, 1,005 square feet as a 3-bedder? Yes, you might have a little bit more space in the bedroom. You might have a little bit more space in the living room. But when you go downstairs, you don't even enjoy the facilities. You don't even want to use the pool. The pool is like old and small and like, you're like, oh, okay, I might as well just go out. Right? But when you go for a brand new condo, it's different. You are gaining access to the entire thing. And of course, I understand the PBVC requirement, but let's be realistic. How many of us really hack down walls? And of course, if we do hack down walls, a lot of times what I see is that a lot of people put back the walls when they start to have kids. And when they want to sell the property, they actually regret tearing down the walls. Because the next buyer that came, they will ask, hey, I'm coming to buy a 4-bedder. Why is there only 2 bedrooms? Oh, I need to spend 40,000 to put back the walls and the air cons and the door frames. Oh, I don't want to buy already. And thus, it's actually not very advisable to tear down walls, which I think PVC walls are great. It gives us, it removes actually our intent to want to tear down walls. It prevents us from tearing down walls, which then omits us the possibility of selling to more buyers in future. And I think actually it's great because if you tear down walls, there's additional costs as well. Just imagine you buy a resale condo, you tear down 2 walls, and in the quotation, the rental quotation is 20,000, and then you need to make good and stuff and patch back, relocate the trunking, air cons, and electrical points. And then after that, 3 years later, when you want to sell, you realize it's hard to sell because all the buyers want the original layout. And you spend another 20,000 to put back. You spend 40,000. You might as well use 40,000 for your kids' education or go for travel in Japan, right? So why do you want to spend the money tearing down walls? So allow me to throw you back a question, Team Resale. Let's have a look at my slides. Caveat emptor. What you see is what you get. And to me, that's a big no. And now that I've already answered your question to a rebuttal, this is my turn to give you my rebuttal, right? This is, of course, a huge concern for resale property. Because when you buy a resale property, once you sign on a dotted line, you put an option fee, the law says that it's deemed that you have already know what you are buying. And you cannot after that and say that when you collect the keys and complain and say, hey, there's a wall crack here, can you patch back for me? You can't do that. But when you buy a new launch condo, the benefit is that you have 1 year to submit your defects. And of course, certain rules of defect check is that before you do a complete renovation, please do a complete defect check. And that's fine, that's fair to the developer. But you still get a chance to check the defects. And developers will do it for you. They will rectify the defects, and then after that, you can have a peace of mind to do renovation, which is perfect. If you don't want to do renovation, just do it with the defects check. And this, to me, is a huge benefit. And of course, my second point is that how are we going to address this Bala's curve issue? Because the lease is not a full 99 years, and you know, there's things that are old, and of course, you will need to renovate as well. Because why? It's not only old in terms of the balance lease, which I've just shared just now. It's also costly because it's old and you need to spend money to renovate. Just have a look at this renovation for BTO property. I'm talking about HDB flats here. Furthermore, if you talk about condominiums, although this from some of the websites is like a very conservative amount, but on reality, we have seen people spending $200,000, $300,000 to do gut renovation, tear down the entire place, the flooring, hack everything because of leaking issues and bathroom issues and all that. And there's so many hidden things that sometimes we don't know as well. For example, termites issue, how are we going to solve it? I can't call the developer. I can't ask the owner because it's caveat emptor. And because of this, how are we going to solve it? And one last point. How about the history of the home as well? Because its resale is old. How do I know if there's such issues? Which not everybody has concerns with this, but some buyers, they have concerns with this. And we want to know. And what if the agent don't tell us this? Or if the agent is not truthful, right? But if I buy a new launch condo, I don't have to worry about all this because nobody has lived in before. It's brand new. So, a lot of points for you, resale team. I hope that you can start to answer. All right, wow, that was very heated. Okay, so resale condo team, I hope that you're ready with all rebuttal point on addressing caveat emptor or history of the home. Back to you, resale team. All right, okay, good points that you have mentioned, but of course, you have not really fully addressed my floor plans. And I've been talking about the floor plans. I've been talking about the flexibility to renovate, to be able to hack down. But it's okay, it's okay. I know that you want to come across these points and then within your points of arguments, allow me to talk about your points, right? So you talk about caveat emptor. Caveat emptor, of course, it is a definite rule in the market to have this in the option to purchase. It's under the Conveyancing Law Society Rules 2020. And these are the sales and purchase condition of resale properties. Because why? It will be endless. It will be endless for buyers to keep checking for defects and after defects. Then the sale cannot be even completed. Because resale property naturally, through wear and tear, and we're in hot weather Singapore, naturally there will be crack lines and all that. And all resale buyers, they already know it. In fact, in a lot of countries as well, there's caveat emptor as well. So this is a very common thing. And take note, team new launch. You also have to deal with this caveat emptor once you want to sell your property, right? I mean, like, you walk into a show flat, you purchase a brand new home, but the moment 3 years later, your brand new property becomes a resale property. So don't use caveat emptor and try to use it as a point against a resale condo. It's just a normal fact of life, right? Caveat emptor is just a rule that governs the sale and purchase, and it's a fair thing for both sellers and buyers because everything has wear and tear. It's a second ownership product. It's just like you buy a car, there's like certain wear and tear that you have to live with it. Although there's Lemon's Law to govern the engine and the gearbox and stuff, but anything else, you have to live with it. And of course, if you don't like what you see when you go for a resale condo, you can don't buy it. That's the beauty of it. If you see a lot of existing cracks and all that, you can even negotiate and say, hey, Mr. Seller, will you be willing to maybe touch up all these things that I'm a little bit concerned about? Can I see when was the last time there was a repainting of the entire condo? When was the last time you did a renovation? Can I see some renovation costing that you have invested in? Can I maybe just bring my contractor to have a look at all these cracks just to see if there's any leaking issues and all that? And if the seller is a serious seller, that seller will allow you to bring your contractor to come and take a look, inspect. And I will always recommend to resale buyers is that before you put on a check, just make a second appointment, second viewing, be polite to the seller, get your agent or consultant to make an appointment and say, hey, I just want to estimate my renovation costs. Can I bring my renovation ID to walk with me just to have a look at what things needs to be fixed or touch up and give me an estimated figure before I put in my offer price? And that is the safeguard that you can have, right? So what's so difficult with caveat emptor? So I don't get like why this is like a big fuss. And of course, when we talk about history of home, I'll come to a second point later, which are the lease, the balance lease. When we talk about history of home, the most important thing is that when you want to make an offer, there are good questions that you can ask. The good questions that you can ask the seller, the good questions that you can ask the seller's representative, because governed by CEA's professional guidelines, all real estate consultants, they have to be truthful about the existing history of the home. If somebody passed away in the home, if the buyer asks that question, they are obliged to give a truthful answer. And of course, you can also document it. You can document it in your WhatsApp conversation. CEA looks at WhatsApp conversation as proof of black and white. You can ask the question. And of course, if the agent lies, and after that you discover that, hey, there's a history in the home that I'm not comfortable with, why did the agent lie to me? You can bring it up to CEA for investigation. And of course, this is already happening in the market for the last many years, and every consumer is protected. So basically, you don't have to worry about the history of the home as long as you know the right questions to ask the seller's consultant. Let me come to your third point, which is, of course, dealing with the lease. Now, I want to bring back my slide over here, which is the disparity effect. because this is a fair market thing. And there's no need to worry too much about this in a sense that you are paying a price that is in conjunction with the balance lease. If I were to buy a resale condo here, which has a balance lease of 80 years, at 1,642 PSF, but I go for a new launch with a fresh lease of 99, and by the time I take the keys, it's already 95. If I were to take this PSF divided by the balance lease and multiply back to 99 years, and if I were to hit around the same price as you, then it is a fair market price that I'm paying. Because if I were to buy a resale condo at this price, there's naturally a reason. And the most important thing is that I'm going in at a quantum that is not at a peak level. I'm not going in at a PSF that is at the peak level. It's the same comparison to, let's say, if I were to buy a car. You buy a brand new car from the showroom, you pay $300,000. You buy a car that is balance of 7 years from its COE, you pay $200,000. The depreciation is fair. So when you buy a resale condo, the depreciation is also factored in, but you are buying it at a lower quantum, which then saves you interest on your mortgage loan. Because if you were to buy a brand new condo at $2.5 million, for example, but you buy this at $2 million, your mortgage of this $2 million is lower, your interest that you pay is lower. And of course, that is one of the reasons why a lot of people love resale condo, because they can choose to go into certain properties that is of the same size or bigger size at a lower PSF at a lower quantum, thereby saving them more interest and paying a lower quantum installment as well. And that would naturally address the issue of going for something that is brand new versus something with a lower amount of lease. Of course, I'm not saying that you can hunt for properties with balance 20, 30 years. Of course, there are buyers that hunt for extremely low lease properties. For example, landed homes, balance 25 years. Buyers that are retirees, they go for it because they can fully pay, stay for 25 years. And some of these buyers, they are 65, 70 years old. They just want a big space, but they don't want to pay $5, $6 million. They want to pay like $1 million for a landed that has a lease of 25 years left. They want to enjoy the space, and they have already taken care of their legacy for their kids. So there will be buyers with every conjunction balance lease, which in my context, I don't think the ballast curve is an issue, because we have sold so many properties before with balance lease of 25, 40 years, 50 years, and we see different buyers at different seasons buying different types of balance lease properties. So I don't think ballast curve is really a concern, especially when in Singapore, land scarce, there's not too much properties to go around, population is increasing, we're still strong. So I don't see your concern, new launch team. But meantime, let me share with you some of my concerns for you. And let me bring also my rebuttal. And so, what I'm going to talk to you about is this. The hype. The hype to me is a concern. See, when you go for a resale condo, there's no hype. I mean, at most, an open house at the bullish market after pandemic 2021. At most, it's 20 buyers, right? And of course, the consultant cannot arrange so many people in the house at the same time. But look at this. What is going to happen is that a lot of new launch buyers are going to buy with emotions and no longer analysis. And do you know how stressful it is at the balloting? You put down your check, expression of interest. You show up that day and there's like mountains. In Chinese, we call 人山人海, human mountains, human sea. And you look at this. What's going to happen is, let me share with you, when you are there, developers might increase price on the spot. And when you look at people that are still buying, you will join because of FOMO. And you might make mistakes because you have entered at a high entry price than you were prepared to. And sometimes, when it's your turn to go there, and you realize that the price has changed, or certain units or stacks that you have already pre-selected are sold out, and you are left with poorer facing stacks or poorer facing levels or poorer layouts that you're not really ready to commit because you haven't studied that layout, haven't studied that facing, haven't studied that floor level, and you don't even know, like, you wanted to go back to the 3D model, but your consultant just whip out the site plan and said, oh, maybe you can take this stack, it's also okay. This facing not as good as the one you want, but might be okay. And then you are standing at a thinking box. and you are a little bit worried, and you see all these people just putting out their checks because of FOMO, and you might just commit to a unit that you have not decided on before because you didn't have enough time to make analysis. So how are you going to address this issue, new launch team? Because sometimes because of FOMO, we make mistakes, and by the time you collect your keys, you realize, oh my goodness, it was because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to study all these alternative stacks because of so many people that has already confirmed the stacks that I want. And how are you going to address the issue that this is paying the highest benchmark price in the market? And a lot of my resale friends, they don't want to pay the highest PSF benchmark because they want to hunt for disparity. And they want to buy something that is not the top of the market. They want to buy something that still has room to grow. And that's why resale properties are the best. Even though there's lesser lease balance, but you have room to grow. But for new launch, you're the top tier. You're the most highest expensive product in the market. You lead the wave. How are you going to grow? And that's my question for new launch team. Alright, okay. I got a point. So you mentioned 2 points are resale team. One is the hype. And of course, the other point is that you're talking about the highest PSF benchmark pricing. Let me address, of course, the hype first. Now, if there's no hype, naturally it's not a good product. Wouldn't you agree with me? I mean, you talk about the fact that resale properties, some of the properties has 20 buyers at the same time coming to see a resale home. But my question back to you is that if I'm hunting for a new launch condo, and if there's no hype, maybe it's a telltale sign that it might not be a good development. It doesn't have clear character, winning characteristics. And the rationale that there's a hype there is because this is a popular location, popular developer, popular product, price points, estimated price might be popular, and this might be something that people are hunting for. And wouldn't it be a clear indicator if that photograph that you have over there, with the hype over there, if at the launch is already this level of hype, wouldn't it be a telltale sign that maybe 3 years later, if I want to sell my new launch condo, I'm going to have the same amount of buyers that has missed out on that launch? And if so many people has missed out on that launch, naturally they might want to get a TOP product after 3 years because they can then get it immediately. So my rebuttal to that is that hype is good. Hype is definitely good. And what we need to do as buyers for new launch is that we just need to come up with our alternative stacks and layout. Is that do homework first. I believe your consultant will give you the entire brochure, floor plans, and then you can do analysis together with a consultant. You can look at the site model, plumb in the map, street directory, look at the facings first, and then come up with this strategy, 5+5. 5 stacks that you want to have, your top 5 choices, alternative 5 stacks that if you cannot get the first 5 stacks, you will go for the other 5 stacks. And that can be a combination of 3-bedroom premium, 3-bed compact, 3+ study if you're hunting for 3-bedder. And of course, there are differences in terms of stacks, layout, and pricing. 3 factors. Let me share with you this thing. So, do your homework with a 5+5 method. 5 stacks that you definitely want to have my top priority, and the other 5 is my alternative priority. And sometimes you will be able to spot differences because maybe these 5 stacks and plus 5 stacks, they all come in varying shapes and sizes. Maybe there are 3 bedrooms, there are 3+ study, there are 3-bed compact, without a store, without a yard, but they are varying price based on varying stacks. So for example, this stack over here, maybe on this particular level, 3+ study is at 2.5 million. However, maybe this stack has been a top 5 but is no longer available. What you can do is, of course, you can hunt for alternative ones. Is that, are there other stacks that maybe is at a slightly lower quantum but at a better and higher level? Maybe you get a super high floor, 3-bed without that study, but it's at 2.4 million. And thus, this is how you lay down. So you can lay down and lead yourself based on price quantum set some parameters, whether do you want to have a bare minimum, like for example, you say minimum must be level 8 and above. And then what you do is that you circle out 5 plus 5 stacks, and each of the stack you circle out 3 units. And thus, all in, you have 30 choices. And with that 30 choices, it must coincide with the price quantum in the range of that you have set out in the first place. So for example, if you have set out maybe like, I want to commit 2.2 to 2.6, and I do not want to burst through 2.6, because maybe if I burst through 2.6, a 4 beta is at 3 million. I don't want to be too close to 3 million. So you set a max and a minimum price range that is reasonable in terms of quantum, and then you come with a 5 plus 5 stacks, select 10 stacks, each of the stacks select 3 units, so you have 30 choices. So on the day while you're queuing up, you will not be that stressed. Even if you're in the thinking box, you also have choice. You have time to think, and you can eliminate your 30 choices, see which one has been sold, and then you can go for the best one that is balanced. So actually there is a strategy to deal with it, and in my context, I think hype is great. And of course, allow me to come to your second question. You talk about benchmark pricing. Benchmark pricing naturally is not a concern. Why? Because it is a brand new product. You just mentioned that it is a brand new product. And how do I deal with this screen? Let me erase everything. All right. I love your chart that you have come up with, resale team. You mentioned new launch is the top tier pricing, is the benchmark pricing. And of course, in the year 2024, you mentioned that it's 2004 averagely PSF. And of course, a lot of the new launches, they are in the range of 2002 to maybe 2006 PSF for RCR and OCR. All right. Now, when you buy a brand new car, do you have to pay the best pricing? Of course, it's brand new. And we cannot forget the fact that this is a brand new product. Oh, how do I use this? Okay, this is a brand new 99 years, fresh lease, brand new construction, brand new architectural, brand new design of 2024, and the most important thing is that nobody has stayed in it before. And if you want to sell it 3 years later, you're going to sell to an additional audience that will buy from you. And we already mentioned just now, there's TOP effect that you can enjoy, the seller stamp duty, blackout period. There's so many benefits. And why is it worth paying for the pricing for a brand new product? Because it's a brand new car. You can't compare a brand new car with a resale car. You're paying for something that is brand new, and naturally, you need to pay the brand new pricing. And most importantly is that, have you heard of the 5-year cycle? Because the 5-year cycle states that every 5 years, what's going to happen is that as the inventory level of developers rise and drops, when the inventory level that they need to hand over and they complete is at an all-time high, and the next 5-year cycle is stipulated to be in 2027, which is in 3 years' time. And what is going to happen is that in 2027, we might enter into a new era of new launch pricing. And that might be in the range of 2,005 to 3,000. And this is, of course, one of the best time to go into a new launch condo, because it's the average price of 2004, 2005. Why would you want to go in at 2027? Of course, 2027, that is going to be a new benchmark. But now is one of the best time to hunt for a new launch condos. And of course, the 5-year cycle is the leading indicator for new launch price growth. And we have seen over the years, the last 5 years, the last range was about 2007 to 2009. This range now is 2002 to 2006. Next range maybe 2005 to 3000. And this might be the best time to go in to the new launch market. And I'm going to throw some questions at you. And moderator, do we have enough time? Yes, and of course, thank you for sounding out. It has been a very intense live debate, and I think we have to cut it off at the last question already. So do give a last rebuttal and last answering from the resale team, and of course, then we will need our audiences to cast a vote. If not, this debate is going to last until 12 midnight. So let's give a last point, new launch team. All right, so my final rebuttal point is this to resale team. It's the demographics of project. You know, when you buy a resale condo, one of the things that a lot of people, a lot of resale buyers forget to look at is the demographics of the existing owner. What if you buy into a project that all the folks in the project don't want to sell because they are all en bloc enthusiasts? Yes, you mentioned about en bloc. You say that en bloc might be a hidden gem. But how many times have en bloc really been succeeding? Just have a look at the rate of en bloc successes. And of course, when you look at this, I have this latest chart from the PLB research team. The last 5 years, en bloc attempts versus success rate has been at all-time low because of rising costs, and developers are preferring to go for GLS. And of course, sometimes the asking tender price is too high, the reserve price is too high by existing owners, and owners have been trying for so many rounds. You look at this analysis from HProp, sometimes they will come with the analysis whether it might be successful or unsuccessful. Just take a look at how many attempts that a lot of projects have taken. And what if you buy into a project that you have no intent to sell? And firstly, two things will happen. One is that you buy into a project and en bloc is successful, but you're hit with your first year seller stamp duty, 12%. And you have spent in $200,000 to renovate, and now you have to pay 12% seller stamp duty, and you have to move out. And maybe all the en bloc money, even though there's some money that you made from en bloc, you cannot even cover the cost of seller stamp duty and your renovation. Second thing is that, what if you buy into a project, yes, there's en bloc potential, but rounds after rounds of en bloc attempt, every round en bloc attempt takes at least 2 to 3 years to come up, launch it, and then fail, and then relaunch, have meetings again and all that. And even though you don't want to participate, and because of the culture of wanting to en bloc, there is a low transaction volume in the project. And we all know transaction volume is so important for price growth. And if there's not enough transactions, we can already see from some of the projects that have been attempting en blocs over and over again, because everybody has a mindset they want to en bloc, they will not sell the property, and thus there's a lack of transactions. And because of a lack of transactions, the PSF in a project cannot catch up with the valuation in the surrounding market. And after rounds of en bloc, if it fails multiple times, then all the owners suddenly just realize that, hey, I don't want to wait anymore. I'll just sell it in the resale market. And by the time when you want to sell, you realize that your PSF valuation has not caught up with your surroundings, because valuation is led by transaction volume. It needs to have multiple transaction volume on a consistent basis, year after year, month after month, quarter after quarter, to grow gradually. And every en bloc sort of injures the transaction volume for 2 to 3 years, because nobody will want to sell naturally, which is understandable. So sometimes, even though you mentioned en bloc can be a hidden engine, but I still prefer new launch because it comes with a clean slate. Every owner mindset is the same. And I don't want to be the guy that buys a resale project, because when I buy a resale project, I'm the person that's paying the highest price right now. Even though you are talking about the fact that my new launch condo is paying the benchmark pricing. But if you buy a resale project, imagine everybody that bought a resale condo at $1,000 PSF 10 years ago. I come in today at 2024 and I pay $1,700 per square foot. I'm the only one that pays the top pricing. Everybody is sitting on profit. I'm the only one that pays the top pricing. So how are you going to explain that, right? And thus, I think new launch condo is the best because we all enter at around the same price. If I enter at 2004, majority of the owners are entering at the same price as me. And for that, I feel safe. All right. It has been really intense, and let's give both our teams a huge round of applause. Please send in like a thumbs up or clapping emoji into the chat box. And I want to thank you for staying tuned with us all the way as well until the final segment of the rebuttal. And we're going to launch our voting system right now. Basically, please click on the link or scan the QR code to key in your vote based on all the rebuttals, all the opening statement, all the defense, all the arguments and perspectives. I hope that whether is it new launch or resale, you have gained a very balanced perspective today, because as a moderator, my stance is right in the middle. And of course, to me, it's not about new launch or resale. So unfortunately, I couldn't take sides with both of you guys, because to me, it's all about frameworks. Frameworks are so important, because there are new launches that have succeeded. There are also new launches that has not performed. There are resale properties that have succeeded in appreciation. There are also resale properties that have stagnated over the years. So to me, it's about fundamentals. And of course, if you want to understand more, head on to PropertyLimBrothers YouTube channel, key in moat analysis. You can type in PropertyLimBrothers moat analysis. It's available on our NOTG channel. It's available on our PLB Insights. It's available on our website as well, where we explain what is moat analysis and how we use moat analysis as a key framework to find out the best condo characteristics, whether is it both resale or new launch. And it's about hunting with framework that will then give us a higher chance to hunt for the correct project with the best form of ROI within a stipulated 3, 5, or 8 years' time. Of course, through time, maybe 15, 20 years later, most projects will appreciate with inflation, but we're talking about how to hunt for the right project with the best potential in the next 3, 5, 8 years' time to see appreciation. Because we all don't want to buy a project with stagnation characteristics. So most important to me, I'm right in the middle. New launch is fine. Resale is also fine. But it's about hunting the right resale and the right new launch in every different season. Because season is also important. So moat analysis and disparity effect. So head on to our channels as well as plbinsights.com and propertylimbrothers.com. All these channels, all these websites will give you an explanation of our key frameworks. And of course, I hope that you have submitted your vote to see who has won, whether is it new launch team or resale team. I'm also a bit confused because they both bear the same name. And thank you also for staying tuned with us. So let's wait a little bit more while you key in your votes, while we wait for the tabulation from our media team to tabulate. And meantime, quick advertisement right here is that we're holding on our first new launch convention 2024 PLB Media and our PLB Socials team, which is our event arm in PropertyLimBrothers. And of course, this is going to happen on the 7th of July at Suntec City Convention Center at Hall 404. Early bird tickets are available at $7 per ticket. There's bundle deals as well if you come with your friends. Of course, it's going to be held on a Sunday, full day event, 10 to 8. We're going to give out 4 zones within the entire hall space, north, south, east, west, and as well as all the different projects that's available right now in 2024 for you to hunt, compare different developers, different projects, different pricing, different layouts. There's going to be 7 keynote speakers, and I myself am going to speak at one of the segments as well on the new launch hunting framework to hunt for the right condo project in 2024. We're going to have invited guests and speakers as well, and I think it's going to be a very fun event because this is the first time we're bringing almost all the new launch projects available together to look and talk about them, and we hope to value add to you as a consumer, as a home buyer and investors that's hunting for property for yourself or for your kids or for your friends. And I think importantly is to educate yourself, and we want to grow with you in this journey as well. And we hope to see you there on 7th of July 2024. We're very excited about this event, and now of course I'm equally excited with the votes as well. So let's have a look at the votes, and let's have a look at the final tabulated votes to see who is the winner for today's live debate, new launch versus condo. And the winner for tonight is, let me have a look, drum rolls, and the resale condo team wins. All right, resale condo team, give a round of applause. Oh my goodness, okay, it's such a tough fight. And resale condo team, congratulations. And of course, new launch condo team, I think you have done well as well. Congratulations to resale team. New launch condo team, you have put out a tough fight. And of course, please, of course, give yourself both each a high five over the air as well, just to congratulate each other for putting up today's research to talk about your perspective. And I want to thank everybody for coming online tonight on a Friday evening to our PLB webinars. This is a live debate for 2024. We're very excited to host you, and we hope to see you on our next webinar as well. That's happening every month in the year 2024. And most importantly, we hope to see you physically, of course, one-to-one in presence with you and your family and friends or your spouse at our new launch convention. Have a good evening and have a good weekend. Take care.